Vince selling TKO stock. He's selling like 8,600,000 shares of
Yeah, and
his
it's like
TKO stock.
what is it, like 70 or 700 million,
Yeah,
$700 million, something like that. I was kind of surprised about this just because, I mean, it does come on the heels of them talking about Vince hurting the Endeavor slash TKO stock and whatever, and that they were kind of worried about advertisers wanting to work with them and not wanting to because Vince was around, blah, blah, blah. So in that aspect, it didn't surprise me, but it was more so of a Vince move that surprised me because he's so stubborn. Obviously, like he wormed his way back into being in WWE, taking over again, kind of like kicking Triple H to the side. So, trying to lie about, oh, the product is doing so poorly, so I have to come back. So I was kind of surprised that he was willing to give this up because it doesn't
it's
feel very Vince like for him to just kind of like throw his hands up and be like, okay, you're right. Like I'm hurting your business. You know what I mean? So
this felt forced. Forced.
it would be interesting to get some more details about it just to be like, okay, was there any sort of convincing done here? Was there a threat here? Like what? Because obviously they can't force him to do it. Like he bought
Yeah,
the holdings, but yeah, it feels like a calculated move, obviously, but it's interesting that Vince would be so open to doing it, I guess, because it's not been that long since Endeavor has become a thing. I mean, officially.
officially a
So
thing. Yeah, it's only not that long. Yeah, I'm a fan of this in the sense that it kind of gets them out of things and continues the product to move in the right direction.
mhm.
I just don't see it being on his own accord. I feel like he had somebody in his ear, or he's been put like had to do it because it's such a bad look, and for people in TKO to say that they hurt their image and have actual stock prices go down is proof of that. It's wild to me that at the start of this whole thing you wanted to sell and you didn't just give it all to Triple H. Maybe he didn't want to have the comp, like you just wanted to be the head of creative and do that as a role. Like,
I think what it was he wanted to sell it because he wanted the money, but he wanted to sell it to somebody who was still going to allow him to have some sort of power.
mhm.
I think that's why the other companies, like ESPN or Disney, like stuff like that, like they were pursuing a deal too. I'm sure they didn't want to include Vince in a deal.
Yeah,
And that was why he was like, no, because I mean, why are you going to turn down Disney when they own ESPN? Like that
that was a
makes
weird. Yeah,
that's a weird decision. I'm assuming that the reason he decided to join up and make Endeavor was because they were like, yeah, we'll let you in. But that's why I'm saying I think that they had a plan in place that was going to inevitably get Vince out. And that was why they were probably more okay with Vince coming in because they knew that it wouldn't last long. Like they
like
were willing to
yeah,
take the risk and maybe lose some money up front because of Vince's presence, but that they knew, like, oh, we'll be able to, have
make
him
it back.
sell his shares, or we'll be able to kick him out eventually.
Yeah,
It's just
it was.
what it seems like to me.
Yeah, it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm so interested in how they're gonna make a documentary because like that's where my mind goes is like how are they gonna make this into a documentary or limited series or something because you're gonna find out the details of this at the end of the day, and there's so many little things that are not being reported on right now that have definitely happened for
Well, and
sure.
I think it's interesting to see how much his public image has changed. Because for a while it was like Vince McMahon is the king. He's a billionaire. Look at this, all of this stuff that he's done. He has this huge company, blah, blah, blah. He's untouchable. And now people are actually like vocalizing their
Oh, they're not
disgust with
fans of
him
them.
or their whatever, and it's like
Mhm.
that came from some people, but a lot of it was like competitors in professional wrestling, or pissed off former wrestlers or workers or whatever. So it's like, you can take that. For most people, they would be like, all right, whatever. They're just like a scorned, former coworker, whatever. But now
Yeah.
it's like, no, there is some big names out there that are like, yeah, we don't want to work
I'm
with
all
Vince McMahon.
set. I'm all
So
set.